and welcome to this episode of Pixel Journey. This episode is going to be all about a fun little indie game called A Little to the Left. So if you are involved in the realm of cozy games, you probably heard back in 2022 the release of a game called A Little to the Left. It was during the first kind of wave of cat-inclusive games that is just fun, cozy, really simple, and relaxing. So A Little to the Left has you organizing scene after scene of different household objects. So the main campaign is divided into 5 different sections that basically have you traveling throughout a household and cleaning up, reorganizing different puzzles. So one of my favorite sections was the recipe kitchen section, and that had you doing stuff from organizing noodles, different shapes, which one was the straightest type of noodle, which one was the curliest type of noodle, and putting them correctly onto that spectrum. Other things, like the first section, will have you simply reorganizing keys from this is the biggest key to this is the smallest key, or putting pieces of paper from biggest on the bottom to smallest on top. Very simple, fun, no-brainer puzzles. That's a lot of them, and that's why I love it, because it makes me feel smart when I solve it so fast. But there are some more trickier puzzles that had me stumped for a bit, like you have 3 glasses and you need to turn them in a certain way. Or a lot of puzzles are you're supposed to have the objects mirror each other, so you'll have 2 of each, and you just line them up. And for some reason, those always stump me because I don't realize that's what you have to do. So there's definitely an array of different types of puzzles for you to solve, and they set them up where they're pretty dispersed throughout the different sections, so you're not really going to get burnt out. And since puzzles and creativity is a huge focus in A Little to the Left, they also have certain puzzles that have multiple different ways to solve them. So a lot of them will be, this is the only way you can solve them, and then you move on. Some can have 2, 3, 4. I've even found a puzzle with 5 different solutions. And so if you are someone who just loves puzzles, you love figuring out stuff, this is a very good game for you to try out. Now, if you are someone who enjoys puzzles but sometimes does get stuck and like you can't figure it out, you don't have to get frustrated with A Little to the Left, because there is a hint system. Now, basically, if you get stuck and you need a hint, you just go into the menu, click hint, and it will give you a board with a bunch of marks all over it, and you take an eraser and erase however much you want to see at least one of the solutions. And if you are someone who is just determined to figure it out on your own, but you're stuck and you want to come back to it later, you can do that. There is, right above the hint button, a let it be button that just lets you skip that puzzle for now and just move on to the next one. I myself have used that quite a few times because I just feel like I'm so close to the answer and I don't want to use the hint. And I'll be honest, sometimes I've used the hint and I still don't really know the answer. So I just let it be for now, and I'll come back to it later. So throughout all of these puzzles, occasionally that fluffy cat that I mentioned earlier will make an appearance, and they will sneak their little paw into the screen and try and move some of the materials that you're rearranging, or will full on, after you've solved it, swipe everything away and just make a mess. Now, if you watched anything related to this game about the developers, you will see that they were really passionate about making a more realistic game about organizing while living with a cat. So this is supposed to be a cute, fun, somewhat realistic aspect of what happens when you have pets. So if you make it all the way to the end of the game, at the end of chapter 5 of the main campaign, you will actually be able to take control of that feisty little friend and go through a bunch of levels that you have already organized and just destroy them. You become the cat and just make a mess. And it is a euphoric burst of energy you get from doing that. You'll just make a mess. You'll climb a Tupperware tower at the end, and you will swat away the names of the people that helped create the game in the credits. Personally, I think that is a great way to end a game. It just has that indie game touch that just, you know, a little extra effort went into that. And that is just an aspect that I love about indie games. They just put that little extra touch at the end and make the credits interactive. So if you do like that, do check this game out. And if you are someone who just, you want to tidy up just a little something every day, every other day. There are something called the daily tidies that you get to do 1 per day, and you just simply log in, click daily tidy, and you get a unique brand new puzzle that you have not played before, and you just get to solve it, and it adds to a little counter. And at the bottom of the screen, there's a bunch of achievement markers that will mark the number of daily tidies that you need to do to get them. And you will eventually max out at 100 if you continue to keep going. Now, if you are an achievement hunter, that will probably be the one that takes you the longest. And there are certainly other achievements scattered throughout the game, such as finishing all the puzzles in each chapter. I recently got one for solving a puzzle in 3 unique ways. And I do play this on Steam, so if you play it somewhere else, the achievements might be a bit different. But if you are an achievement hunter, I think that this is a very, very fun game, and I do kind of want to hunt down some more achievements myself in it. Now, if after you have finished the game, you want more, like the daily tidies aren't enough, you want more puzzles, more chapters, there are 2 sets of DLC that have come out so far. One was released in 2023, and that features cabinets and cupboards and just organizing those. And a more recent one that came out this year, and that one is called Seeing Stars. So don't worry, there are definitely more puzzles if you get that urge, if the main campaign is just simply not enough for you, and it wasn't for me. So I am someone that really enjoys the aspect of cleaning and organizing things, but when I do it in my own house, a lot of the times I lose motivation halfway through, or I start too late in the day and have to stop. So I can't always do that. But in this game, it might sound odd, but you still get a similar satisfaction from organizing and cleaning and just seeing everything be able to go in a perfect spot that is lacking a bit of realistic sense, because you always have too many things in your house. But scrolling through the comments on Steam and Reddit and all of those things to kind of get a view for what people thought of the game, aside from myself, I did see a lot of people say it helped with my ADHD, it helped with my OCD, it just helps me relax. And so this is a very, very relaxing game. The aesthetic is very colorful, leaning a bit more towards pastel, but not quite in the color scheme. And the music is the main kicker. I frankly love the soundtrack. A lot of games, I'll be honest, if I'm grinding them out or something, I will have music or a YouTube video on in the background, so I turn the game sound down or off entirely depending on the game. But with this, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to leave it on. I kept it on the entire way, didn't turn it off, didn't turn it down. It's just so soothing. I want to get a physical version of that soundtrack. That will probably be my next collection adventure, which my wallet is not ready for. But yes, the entire atmosphere surrounding this game is just simple relaxation. Organize a few things. You can play this all in one day. I actually went through the other day and replayed the main campaign. I'd never actually finished it. I had gotten about halfway through chapter 3, so I went back to the beginning, played through the entire thing, finally hit the credits, and that was all in a single night. And that's another thing. It had been quite a while. I think I tried the game out and got about halfway through that. In 2023, and I went back and I replayed all the puzzles that I had solved before, but perks of not having great memory, I didn't remember them, so it was still satisfying. So if you're like me and don't have the most fantastic memory, this does have replay value. Or if you just simply want to go through, and a lot of the puzzles are toddler simple with stack it biggest to smallest. It's just fun to do that every now and then, even if you know that you've done it and you've done it like 1,000 times. So I do really love that even though this is a very small team, the developers Max Inferno, when I looked on the website, it showed only 3 people listed for the credits. So this is a very small team that made a very heart-filled game that just seemed to stem from their love for their pet cat. And they made an entire very soothing game surrounding organizing with a pesky cat. And not only did they just put out A Little to the Left, they made 2 DLCs that came out 1 and 2 years after the initial game release. So who knows, maybe they'll keep putting out more. I really like the puzzles, so I would be totally fine with picking up another DLC. And plus, they're not really outrageous in price, and you can also get them in bundles right now. You always see a bunch of like indie-focused game sales or bundles. Try picking it up with that if it's bundled with a game that you were already looking at. Or at least wishlist this game, because it does really help indie teams when you wishlist their game on Steam, and it can even push it to a friend that might want it instead. Now, sadly, this game doesn't have a demo I would love to promote. Just go check out the demo to see if you like it. But on Steam, I don't know about other platforms, it does not seem to have one. So I would say just go to the Steam page, look at the type of puzzles, and if it's for you, I would say give it a try. Right now, I'm recording this on the 14th, and it should go up the same day. It is on sale right now, so if you're watching this throughout the time of the sale, put it in your cart and see. But yeah, that's basically it for me gushing about this adorable indie game that I rediscovered by just playing it all through in a single night. So if you have played A Little to the Left, drop your comments down below. Do you have a favorite chapter? Do you have a favorite style of puzzle? Did you play the DLCs? Did you not? I know a lot of people were kind of iffy on some of the prices, but for the most part, I saw people really enjoying the DLC. And maybe drop some comments about similar types of games for me to try out. I am really trying to focus more on getting into indie games. There was a game called Stitch, I believe, that looks very interesting that I want to try and get soon. I do plan on playing the new release Broken Lens pretty soon, so that might be another thing to keep an eye out for if you really enjoy indie games. But yeah, that will be all for me for today. Thank you so much if you have gotten through this video. I really do appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you think I did a good job, and if you like the content that you see on the channel, give me a subscribe so you don't lose me. Have a good day!